Oh, is it still going?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're beginning again. Sorry, I was dumb. I had it on photo.
Hi, this is Jason and Don with Garden Talk. We just realized, Don just realized, because he's my producer, director, my muse, that this is Don. Hi, Don.
Hi.
He's my neighbor. He spanks people.
I'm the one that does all these mistakes.
He's discovered me.
That's what I said. I made a mistake.
This was therapeutic in the beginning. Now it's become something else. Anyways, I wonder how many other times you fucked up now.
No, we saw that
with
there.
the GoPro.
No, the GoPro, I don't know. That's not important now.
Because everything was recorded on the GoPro, and there are hundreds of these we've made, recordings. And I finally got them all loaded on the computer and everything cleaned up but I still haven't looked at them. And what my point is we already talked. I was on a diatribe already. That's a good one. I guess I'm getting my words back, even though I died 3 times. I did. I died 3 times in the past 2 weeks. Well,
the same night.
This is very no, twice in one night, and once in the afternoon on Saturday.
Oh, so it's 3 times.
On Saturday when I died.
So you died 3 times.
Not 3 times at once, but I was like, yeah, because there's evidence. They said when they brought me in for the CT or whatever, the echo when I first got there, because I told about how I fell 8 feet. We already recorded this. That when I hit, that there was evidence in my heart of. They didn't say mortified, but it was something like that.
Went to sleep.
That there had been serious trauma to the heart,
Okay.
and they believed it had stopped, and that's when I said about the whole waking up over it stands.
So the fact that you died in the daytime, and woke up to leaves being blown out.
The leaves.
You had to try it again twice at night to see if that takes, and it didn't take.
Well, and the other 2 times were in the hospital. That first night I was in the hospital Monday night. But this is something, for some reason, I feel like I have to just keep saying, just right now. And maybe I'll say, in the past year I've died 3 times. Let's see how long we can make this go. No, we have no idea if these are going to be funny or successful. But the point is that I keep getting around, because I don't want to cast blame on Don. But
you better not.
But it is
I'll
his fault.
disconnect
There was probably 15 minutes. Don, there's probably 15 minutes of the diatribe that I was on, telling the stories. I recapped some of it, but it was in great detail. And then he said, "Oh, I think it's on photo." And I just about had a meltdown. I thought, no, this is still the beginning. We just started. If this was the end of the night, I'd be like, "You son of a bitch!" Oh. We were talking about how mesmerizing it was for me to see myself on camera when we watched this the first time, because of this getting full of the SD card. We watched some of it on here, and you grabbed the tablet, and then we watched it on the tablet that night. But just watching myself, the facial gestures and shit that I had suppressed for so many years because of rehab, and and the reason for that, this was talked about in a previous video, but depending on which one you watch first, it don't matter to me, just figure it out, is that when I went into rehab in 06, I actually checked in July 6th of 06 to the McIntyre house. Ed Kohler was the director. I was fresh. I just literally made it in the timeline. They didn't test me, and I figure if you test me, I'm probably gonna pee. I'm pissed dirty. It wasn't exactly 3 days, and it takes 3 days for it to get out of your system in a piss test. In a blood test, it's another story. Hair test, 18 months on meth or something like that. Pot, 12, whatever. Anyway. I made it in right in the deadline of 3, because I told him this is the exact time I stopped, and I knew what time I stopped that day. Because Mike, this is on the 4th of July. That was actually my sobriety date. Because I don't know, you're gonna have it. This is a very important story, but they all seem to be important. We'll come back to that, Mike. And pen. And pimento.
You need to have a pen attached to you.
I do. Okay, Mike. I'll just write this down. Mike leaving me. in Santa Monica.
And that was Rick's brother?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was Joe.
You have a lot of lefters
July 4th,
in your life.
4th July, July. Huh?
You have a lot of leavers in your life. That just, he's not here no more. I guess he left.
Let's see here. Let's see. Sobriety, S-O-B, sobriety. Now, see, now I know what that looks like when I do that, because I saw that the other night. The sobriety. Anyways, the reason I brought up the McIntyre house was they were nice people. And I made some friends and a lot of enemies. We all argued and fought all the time. It was fucking horrible. But I'll tell you, I was in a different caliber of people that I'm used to hanging out with, if that makes any sense. I used to hang around like I was a club promoter. I was one of the top club promoters in West Hollywood, for God's sake. Yeah. And a graphic artist. All of a sudden, I'm with these people who I wouldn't hook.
Downers.
I wouldn't hook up with.
Yeah.
and I only hook up with for years for people I'd hook up with. And even though I didn't hook up with them, I would. And that was like the crowd I hung out with. That way, if I wanted somebody, I could just grab. And these people were, they had no sense of humor. That's the thing, they had no sense of humor. And they didn't like my facial gestures as I was trying to tell jokes. Because the only jokes I was telling was about, they weren't really jokes. They were just, but I was telling them as jokes, as I've learned how to do. About, horrible, depraved things that I saw at the San Vicente Inn in West Hollywood. Shit that I've done to people. And I just had to, because I was fresh. And I had to talk about this. And they said, and then I went to the meeting, I went to a couple of meetings, and they said, and here's what I heard. It's important to talk about it. Okay, gotta talk about it. But I had to tell it like I'm talking about it now. Like about the time I was, that's a story maybe I shouldn't tell.
Must be a good one.
Well, it has to do with when I was living in San Vicente Inn after Jim dumped me to get the other tweaker who ended up throwing himself off the roof. I'm sorry, Jim. Come on. I'm not going to go into why we broke up. It was his fault. It was both of our faults.
You sure he didn't fall off the roof?
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
No, not Jim.
Okay.
His boyfriend threw himself off the roof.
Oh, his boyfriend.
Yeah, well, he was on meth.
Oh,
because Jim wouldn't let me answer the door one night, but Jim doesn't remember me even buzzing the buzzer, so he's probably in a different apartment. And he threw himself off the roof. And I felt sorry for Jim that happened. But, well, that was throwing himself off the roof. I'm wandering around the streets of West Hollywood, fucking homeless, waiting for 2 more days for my goddamn SSI check to come in to deposit, and you're sitting there with how much money did you get again from the lawsuit because the mattress company fired him for being gay and HIV positive, or at least that's what we accused him of. Well, there was some evidence to it. Yeah, Jim was a little lazy. But no lazier than the other people who worked there. But they fired him for not fluffing the pillows properly. I'm serious
for a
that he didn't fluff the pillows on the mattresses properly. That he didn't seem to do it with care.
Well, maybe they should have had an image of a body, a male body, and then he would understand fluffing better.
And I thought, well, just put the pillows in a fucking glass case. they had starch them and no one ever has to touch them. That's what I would say. But McCroskey is, I think, they were from San Francisco, and they had a store on Robertson below Melrose, like right by Cedars. And that Robertson, those nice places there on Robertson. Let's not talk about that. That's a real downer.
Okay, why don't you talk about your dad and your conversation concerning the video we did
my dad
2 nights ago?
Oh, and I could sync up part of it here for anybody who hasn't seen, so they could just get a glimpse of my dad. I wanted to smoke something before we did this, but maybe I should just go ahead and do it. What do you think?
I think, yeah. Yeah.
Just go for it? Okay.
You're on a roll now. Just go with it. Otherwise, you'll come in and
I'm
you'll
smoking
be on
pot,
the
is what
third.
it is. It's not like I'm out there smoking meth. I have nice teeth. I see. I didn't lose my teeth. This one's a little loose right here, but I didn't lose my teeth from smoking meth for 10 years. I think it's really... and I really think because when I came into sobriety and people were talking about their teeth rotting and falling out, my teeth were a little sore, but I brushed and flossed and mouthwashed nonstop. Because I could not stand making out with somebody when we were having, with all the sex I had on meth, if they tasted like a fucking garbage can. And I didn't want my mouth, and I was so afraid that my mouth was going to taste like that. And I knew that Tweaker's teeth went bad because I saw them going bad, but I knew they didn't brush. So I brushed, I flossed, I fucking I mouthwashed like hell, scrubbed my tongue. Just nonstop, and now I can't quit in sobriety. It's like, it's not as bad as I'm not brushing as often, but I do brush. I brush after each meal. I brush in the morning before I even eat food or do anything. No, after my first pot of coffee, but before I eat breakfast, which is actually lunch. Probably 4 or 5 times a day. I brush my teeth. And for like 3 minutes, my Oral-B.
And how did we get into teeth? We're talking about your father.
My father. Well, I've smoked some pot, and it's your job to steer me back. I don't know.
I just did.
It'll be interesting when these are online and we go back and we're actually looking at them after we post them. They're going, that's something. Maybe we could talk about that sometime. But here's the funny thing about talking about that. We still have to talk about my dad. These are the things from the other night, New Year's Eve, that I had prepared. These are bullet points. And this was funny shit that I had been laughing my ass off about coming over here to do it. But we spent the whole night learning about Juanita. Juanita Giva. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
So, this is important.
I want to be sure you're staying in line.
Okay, good. This is very important for everyone to see. Okay. This